Hi, everyone. I'm Janelle. I'm with LUXVT. Thanks for joining me today to talk about how to sign more high-end or luxury listings. Now, quickly, just a little bit about us if you haven't used LuxVT before. Essentially, our core product is a listing package that's designed to impress your most demanding sellers. It starts with the perfect presentation, which includes a tour video and a luxury listing website, elite advertising in places like the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Robb Report. We also include 100 international ads and great presentation tools to share with your sellers. Now, we've also recently launched a new service called LuxVT Pro, which is an upgraded version where you get access to things like agent branding and farming tools. And we will be showing some examples from that as we go through today. Now, you may already have this dialed in, but if you are looking for a turnkey expert solution, we can take care of that for you. We have you covered on that end. Now, in addition to these services, we also provide a wide variety of training modules and content for agents and brokers. We'll soon be actually announcing some additional modules with topics such as how to keep the listing, social marketing, as well as agent branding. So make sure you sign up for those. One other thing is throughout the presentation, if you do have a question, feel free to use that chat button and I will try to address it then. Otherwise, I will leave time at the end for Q&A. All right, well, let's get started. Let's talk about how to sign more of those luxury listings. Now, we're going to look at some tactics and some tools that we've seen to be very successful in the marketplace, as well as share some marketing assets that you can actually start using today to build your personal brand and establish yourself as the best choice for luxury sellers. Now, as a thank you for attending this webinar, we will be providing you with actual marketing that we've designed. We call it our sell sheet. We will actually brand it with your contact information, and we will send that back to you in a digital as well as a PDF format. And I will also be showing you an example of that in just a bit, so you'll have an idea of what that looks like. But, again, remember, guys, no matter where you start, whether you're new to the luxury market or a seasoned vet, really building your brand and making you the best choice really is the end goal. So how are we going to get that listing, and what does that really look like? The first thing we want to ask ourselves is, why choose you? Why is that prospective seller going to choose you? And what can you do to get that seller's attention? And then once you have that attention, what should you do to actually get them to sign with you? Well, we first need to look at kind of the differences between a regular seller and a luxury seller. Well, we all know across the board, any seller wants top dollar for their property. They want it fast and they want it hassle-free. But the luxury seller, they're typically going to be older. They're going to be more established. They're going to come more or less from an executive or a professional level within their position. They're going to have more experience. They've probably been through this process several times. They're going to also be more critical. They're going to have their opinions and they're going to have no problem sharing that with you. Their expectations are going to be a lot higher. They're going to more than likely reference back to past experiences, whether that's positive or negative. And they're less likely to accept anything at face value. They really are the ones that need evidence. They really need proof of your abilities. They've more than likely established relationships with other agents, so it's really important that you really be that disruptor. And regardless of the situation, you really need to make yourself that better option. So how will they size you up? Well, obviously right off the bat, they're going to look at your reputation. They're really going to find out what people have been saying about you. What's the word of mouth or their perception within your community? How well do you communicate with them? What do you say? How fast is your response time? Branding, that's a very important component. Ask yourself, does the branding and the communication style speak the language of an upscale and luxury lifestyle? Does your brand look like it's made for them? And do they see you as the expert in the community? Again, tying in the assets, do you have assets that talk to the luxury market? What items are you really delivering to them? Any types of brochures or mailers or any type of flyers? Do you have that ready to go? Again, results. look at the ways you can really quantify and put on paper to the seller. Do you offer any type of reporting or statistics throughout the selling process? Any evidence-based collateral is going to be key to this. How many times do you get a seller asking you, day after day, where's my listing? Where is it published? How many video views do you get? And of course, the value proposition, which is the most important element to this. Number one, do you even have one? And if you do, is there a clear message about why you are the better choice? I always suggest agents really put that down on paper. Why are you the better value? Not necessarily that you're cheaper, but why do you offer more bang for the buck? It's a great visual to really kind of get you in that mindset. Here is a perfect value proposition, and one that we've actually crafted for our agents, and we actually really suggest they use verbatim. My elite global marketing program drives top dollar for your home. It's a great opportunity for you to just continue to kind of work on that and show your agent or your seller that. Now, I'd mentioned that as a thank you, we are going to be offering you one of our marketing assets, and here it is. This is our sell sheet, and it gives a really quick snapshot of the various advertising and marketing components that you can deliver. It's a great tool to use in just one of the marketing strategies we offer to all of our agents. Now, it also demonstrates value by showing that you offer more than the competition. And you can also use this through listing appointments. You can leave it behind as additional marketing collateral. And again, it really ties back to that value proposition. And again, we'll brand that with your contact information, and I would encourage you to start using that immediately. So the next thing is, what signals are you sending? Now that we have an idea of what we'd like to say to sellers, let's really look at what we actually are saying to the sellers through the various channels that we use. Now, a little bit of self-critique here, guys, goes a really long way. We want to send the right message to get sellers to want to talk to us. But more importantly, we really want to avoid making some missteps that might take us out of the race to someone who might have otherwise engaged. So here's just a quick checklist of things and areas that you may currently be doing or that you're looking to want to include as part of your business. So your website, number one, do you have one? Really important, get the opinions of others about your website. Perception is reality, and this can be really eye-opening for you. Is the message you have on your website, is it specific for upscale sellers that really answers the question, why choose you? Or at least you have an area that speaks to the luxury seller? Or is your message vague? Are you trying to be all things to everyone? What is that focus? The social proof, this in the luxury market, it's predominantly based on referrals and the reputation. So your testimonials are gold, and treat them as such. Use them from any of your clients as long as it supports a really strong message. Don't get hung up if you've got a great testimonial, but it's coming from a mid-level seller. No one knows that but you. Personal branding, is your personal branding up to date? Is it consistent through all of the different collateral materials? Does it look the same? Does it have that same luxury feel? Are you involved with any type of social media, Facebook, Instagram, any of those types of things? Now, I'm going to switch really quickly to a luxury landing page that we've actually designed for one of our agents. This can be integrated into your website, into your website. And as a Lux Pro member, we do offer this service to our agents. So if you already have something similar to this, you're on the right track. So let me switch over right quick here. Okay, so here is a luxury landing page that we designed for one of our agents. And as you can see, we went ahead and put her logo on it. But it gives a really nice presentation of the different advertising platforms that the listing will be included in. It talks about her overall marketing strategy, from global exposure to the presentation of the property. It also includes capturing any contact information, so you can start kind of building your lead report or lead processes. So again, it's a great opportunity to really hone in and really talk about your value proposition. So let me switch back again to my other screen here. Give me a second. All right, so collateral and listing assets, again, talking about those brochures, signage, postcards. And then the last thing is overall aesthetic. You can really spend a lot of money to achieve this, or you can follow just some basic rules. When you're looking at all of your collateral and just the overall look of the marketing materials you use, is there white space in there? Is there a lot of minimalism to the look of either your website or the materials you use? So give yourself really an honest evaluation and have someone whose taste you trust give their 2 cents. So remember, less is more. Now, again, you probably don't have the time or the resources to really revamp everything from scratch if you're, looking at some of these things on the checklist, but you may be able to correct or improve some of those things really quickly and easily. But again, for those larger projects, make room for them as your business evolves. And as far as prioritizing, you really want to make sure you have at least one physical asset and one digital asset that you can direct higher end sellers to, whether that be a landing page, a brochure, or a flyer that really speaks to your luxury value proposition. And now that you've done that, go look at your competitors or those agents that are excelling in other markets. What are they doing that you can emulate? And maybe what are they not doing that you can really exploit or you can do better? So getting the word out, really building mindshare and delivering your value proposition in a really memorable way. Now it's time to talk about how do we farm for those luxury listings? And again, what are the important differences between luxury and the rest of the market? And also, how to get the most bang for your buck when you start marketing yourself to acquire inventory. We're going to start looking at the most common channels you can deploy and what differences to consider for the luxury market. So the first is direct mail. That's going to be obviously your postcards, your mailers. Of course, it's highly targeted. It's got strong brand and value messaging. It's got high attention compared to most others. But on the downside, it can be a bit costly. There is a ton of competition in that space, especially in luxury. But make sure if you do go that direction, that the quality and the consistency needs to be there. And of course, making sure that it's a good fit and that you're consistent with that. But of course, you do need to do something at some level with this. And here's a great example of a postcard that we, again, designed for one of our agents. Again, it's a great opportunity to leave behind or get in front of that prospective seller to show them kind of the marketing materials that you use to advertise and to promote their property. Outdoor environmental, this talks about bench signs, billboards, grocery carts. It's highly targeted, great reputation for luxury if you can get in the right locations, whether that be an affluent neighborhood or maybe a high-end grocery store. But again, there is an investment that's involved with that. It can be pretty hefty. There's typically long-term contract commitments. At times, the messaging space is pretty limited. So if you do go that route, just be smart and be creative. And if you can get into the right location, go for it. So digital is going to talk about obviously some part of any type of social media, display ads, any type of paid search. I'm sure all of you are doing some type of digital at some level. It's highly targeted, lots of opportunity to be creative and test messaging. It can be used for lead building. And of course, it's relatively low cost. But on the flip side, because it's digital, it does have a limited attention and it's highly competitive. But, again, do it for branding and awareness benefits. But again, in terms of that lead gen, don't necessarily count that specifically for the luxury space. It can be a bit of a gamble. Now I'm going to switch screens again because I want to show you an additional website that we did design. So again, part of that pro program that you can utilize in addition to the rest of the marketing that we do share with you. And this is an actual more in-depth landing page and website that I showed you before. and it really details all of the different marketing strategies that this agent does for their clients. And it's just a nice little, something that you can send over to that prospective seller or use in a listing appointment. It really gets the message across as to what you are able to offer for that client. And again, this is something that we would provide for our agents. So it's kind of a no-brainer. We can do this all for you, and it looks really nice. It looks very professional. It speaks to that luxury space and that luxury seller, and really speaks their language. It talks about the different platforms that the property is going to be featured in. We talk about global exposure, which is really important, especially in that luxury market. So again, it's just an opportunity to share additional collateral with your seller and just really, again, tie back to your value proposition. Okay. All right, let me go back one more time here. And this next is just, again, a snapshot of, again, additional branding, being able to send that over to your seller or utilize it in a listing presentation. So content marketing, this is all about blogging, newsletters, any type of format that you're actually going to be putting together yourself. It's a great way to establish yourself as a local expert and build a following. But with that being said, it is a time commitment because you are, personally putting together the content, and it can sometimes be difficult to outsource. But if you want to go for it and you love doing that kind of thing, go for it. But again, it can be time consuming on that end. Sponsorships and memberships, this really is about networking, really getting involved with any type of charities or clubs. It can be a great grassroots opportunity for meeting those perspectives or those prospects in those luxury neighborhoods. Look for some, opportunities that may not cost a lot. That could be networking and special organizations, groups sponsoring certain events within those luxury neighborhoods. That's also a great opportunity, and it doesn't cost a lot of money to do so. Radio, TV, and magazines. This is an area we kind of shy away from these days because it really is kind of gone by the wayside. But if you do kind of find some niche opportunities, maybe a community newspaper that's going to have a really high-end concentration of, luxury sellers, buyers, kind of neighborhoods, take advantage of that. Anything that you can kind of get in front of that and kind of be more in the spotlight versus amongst, all of your competitors or a lot of competition is always a win. And of course, overall, radio, TV, just on the flip side, it doesn't necessarily have that geographic or demographic targeting. So again, make sure if you are going that route that you are finding some really niche areas that you can showcase your value proposition. And of course, the last is door-to-door. Obviously, it's a great opportunity to meet your prospects face-to-face and really deliver your message. But again, it can be time-consuming. You do need to carve out specific time and be consistent in doing that. But we always recommend, just do it. It's strongly recommended in that luxury space. All right, listing assets. Just a quick word about non-luxury listings. We really recommend, even if you don't have a luxury listing, really treat at least some of your mid-level listings like luxury in terms of assets and collateral. You can really demonstrate that you go the extra mile and really tell the story. You really show, don't tell. So it's really important to have some of that under your belt. And here's another piece of marketing that we've designed and that we do empower our agents to utilize. And this is just a quick little as seen in postcard, whether you can use it as a direct mail piece, you leave it as a leave behind. It's a great piece to kind of use during those touch points throughout the selling process to, keep your seller happy. And again, utilizing it through listing appointments to really showcase what you're able to do for that seller. Competition, again, get to know 3 or 4 of the players and their marketing strategy. Your objective is really to hit it where they're not, meaning you want to look at where they're not capitalizing and really use it to your advantage. Really look at those areas and Make sure that, you're getting into the areas that maybe they have overlooked. Each one of the competitors that is investing in any of the channels that we've discussed is really making it less effective and more expensive for you. So keep that in mind. So getting prospects to sign, what are you going to look at in order to really seal that deal? Well, it all follows back to that value proposition. Really make sure that it's a strong message. Present the value proposition through the assets, through the marketing collateral that you have. Verbalize it to them and relate it directly to their situation. Differentiating yourself. Make sure your seller really understands the difference in quality and quantity of the value proposition that you've put in front of them. And of course, the marketing collateral, that's really important. I'm going to quickly switch over to a different screen for you guys because I do want to show you an example of our listing presentation kit, which is really a valuable piece to the puzzle. And I'm going to be able to share with you. Basically what it is, it really provides an agent with a 12 to 16 page brochure that really highlights all of the different platforms, all of the different media that the listings are being included in. So it's really a valuable piece, and it's really a nice leave behind. You will receive it in a digital as well as a PDF version so that you can share that with your agents. So give me just a second to do that. Okay, so here is our luxury listing media kit. And again, we do this for every single one of our agents for every single one of their listings that they bring to us. But again, it's a really quick overview of all of the different marketing that's included. So you can really take this to your seller and show them all of the areas that their listing is going to be marketed to. International, you've got all of the different international reach. Jawai, which is a Asian publication. You've got your social media look. You've got your YouTube. But again, it's just a great piece of material that you can really use and you can take with you to share with that seller. So let me go ahead and exit out and get back to our other slide here. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay. And again, this is kind of just a static view of that listing media kit. So follow up. Really you want to make sure that, of course, by wrapping this up, you've had the opportunity to kind of engage with that seller. Follow-up is obviously very important as kind of that final process. Reference back to their situation. Don't use any type of obviously canned responses, maybe throughout, through your CRM. That's kind of a no-brainer. Really tie it into a more of a personal level. And of course, leave behind those examples, leave behind that sell sheet, leave behind that listing media kit. It's really important that you be able to use all of those assets and be able to show them kind of the value proposition and tie that back to why you're different and what makes you a better choice. Now, the next slide here, guys, this is kind of an overview of the Lux Pro program and the agent marketing features. If you notice on the left-hand side, these are all of the things that are included in that upgraded pro level, from the luxury landing page to the on-demand presentations to agent branding ads, as well as the workshops and the coaching. On the right-hand side, these are additional upgrades that are included in the Pro if you wanted to upgrade even more and add on maybe additional design studio work, additional content, social media. So no, there are available upgrades to even kind of boost or kind of take those responsibilities off your shoulders and let us do the work for you. And the last slide here is, this is just again, as a thank you for attending the webinar, we wanted to extend an opportunity for a free consultation to any of the anyone viewing the webinar. Number one, that sell sheet that we talked about that will be branded with your contact information, a consultation on brand strategy and really drill down into kind of what is most important to you. And then if you are interested and you do bring us a listing, that first listing, we actually will include $300 in bonus listing features for that listing. So there's some really good opportunities to get involved with that. If anyone has any questions, again, feel free to either drop me an email. Morgan at LuxVT is actually one of my partner that also handles some of the training. So feel free to either contact me or Morgan. And then again, we really appreciate you guys for attending the webinar. And we will be sending a recorded version of this along with a consultation link to sign up if you are interested in, as well as the sell sheet. So again, I appreciate your time, and we look forward to working with all of you guys. Thanks so much and take care.